Have you ever pulled over for an ambulance, lights and sirens blaring, and wondered what's really going on in there? I'll tell you, it's so much more than just a race to the hospital. It's this incredibly coordinated, surprisingly complex, and yeah, often dangerous operation. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain and take a look at what really happens on an emergency transport call. To really get what an ambulance is today, you got to look at where it all started. Back in the 1860s, the first ambulances were basically horse-drawn carts. Their high-tech gear, brandy, and bandages. Fast forward to today, and we're talking about state-of-the-art mobile units. They're basically emergency rooms on wheels, packed with defibrillators and GPS, and staffed by highly trained EMTs who can send your EKG straight to the hospital. It is an absolutely incredible evolution. And believe it or not, every single one of those modern responses, doesn't matter if it's for a minor fall or a major car crash, follows this incredibly structured 9-phase process. It's a precise playbook, all designed for safety and efficiency. And right now we're going to walk through the most critical parts of that playbook. So, phase 1. It's all about preparation. The mission really truly begins long before a 911 call ever comes in. Because when that phone rings, there's absolutely zero time to start wondering if the equipment is working or if the truck has gas. Every single shift starts with this exhaustive inspection. EMTs check everything. Fuel levels, tire pressure, making sure the radios and sirens are working. And that medical equipment check, that is so crucial. A dead defibrillator battery isn't just an inconvenience, it could literally be the difference between life and death. Being ready 24/7 isn't just a goal, it's the baseline. And a key piece of being ready is something called the jump kit. You can think of it as the 5-minute kit. It's this portable bag that has everything an EMT needs for those first critical moments with a patient. Gloves, bandages, airways, you name it. It lets them start treatment right away, wherever the patient is, before they're even on the stretcher. And that leads to one final critical part of preparation that most of us never think about: securing the vehicle. See, in a sudden stop, or worse, a crash, an unsecured oxygen tank or even that jump kit can become a deadly projectile. It can threaten the lives of the crew and the patient, so everything has a specific place and it absolutely must be locked down tight. All right, let's move on to phase 2, racing to the scene. And this is where things get really intense. You might be surprised to hear that this part of the call is often the most dangerous part of the entire job. Not for the patient, but for the EMTs themselves. So we all have this image in our heads, right? The ambulance comes, lights and sirens blaring, and the traffic just parts like the Red Sea. But does that actually guarantee a safe or even a speedy response? Well, the reality is going to surprise you. Here's the thing. This quote says it all. Decades of data have shown that the tiny amount of time saved by speeding with lights and sirens rarely, if ever, actually improves patient outcomes. The thinking has shifted away from the old golden hour to something called the Platinum 10 minutes, which is all about the high-quality care that EMTs can deliver right there on the scene and in the truck. That's what saves lives. And get this, there's another hidden danger called siren syndrome. It's this adrenaline rush that the lights and noise create. It can make other drivers panic and do unpredictable things, for sure. But it can also affect the EMT driving, making them misjudge the speed of an approaching car. It takes a ton of discipline to manage that feeling and stay safe. And all of this comes to a head at the single deadliest point of the journey. The most common and the most serious ambulance crashes happen at intersections. Even with all the lights and noise, drivers have to slow down, scan every single lane, and make sure traffic is stopped before they go through. They can never, ever assume that other drivers see or hear them. Okay, so they've made it to the scene safely. Now the focus completely shifts. From the moment they arrive and start assessing the patient to getting them in the ambulance into the hospital, patient care is this continuous, ever-changing process. And the very first step in providing that care is creating a safe workspace. On a busy road, that means using a very specific technique called the fend-off position. They'll park about 100 feet before the accident and angle the ambulance to create a physical barrier, a shield, really, that protects the crew and the patient from oncoming traffic. It's such a simple maneuver, but it absolutely saves lives. And this right here shows you that the back of an ambulance is not just a taxi to the hospital. It's a mobile ICU. For a stable patient, they're checking vital signs about every 15 minutes. But for an unstable patient, it's every 5 minutes.
That constant monitoring means the EMT can catch any change, good or bad, and react to it immediately. So, the patient is safely at the hospital, they've been handed off to the doctors, call's over, right? Nope, not even close. This next part, the post-run phase, what I call the unseen reset, is one of the most important parts of the whole shebang. And we are talking about way more than just wiping things down. See, cleaning just gets rid of the visible dirt. Disinfection is next level. It uses chemicals to kill dangerous pathogens. And then there's sterilization, the highest level, which gets rid of all microbial contamination. This is all to make sure the ambulance is completely safe for the next patient, who might be a tiny newborn or someone with a really weak immune system. This checklist just shows you the full cycle. They have to strip all the linens, throw up medical waste, disinfect every single piece of equipment they used, scrub the stretcher, restock every last bandage and vial, and then do all the paperwork. The moment one call is officially over, the prep for the very next one begins. It never stops.
But what happens when ground transport is just too slow, where the patient needs a specialist that's hundreds of miles away? Well, that's when we enter the final and most high-stakes phase of transport, the air ambulance, or medevac.
Now, a helicopter isn't called for convenience. It's a decision that's made out of extreme medical necessity. We're talking about time-critical injuries, like a stroke or severe trauma where every single minute counts, or when a patient has to get to a super specialized place like a burn center that's just too far away to drive. And you can't just land a helicopter anywhere. The recommended landing zone is a clear, flat area of at least 100 by 100 feet. To give you some perspective, that's about the size of a small baseball infield. And that whole area has to be totally clear of any loose debris. Safety around a helicopter is absolute and non-negotiable. I mean, there is zero room for error. You always approach from the front, where the pilot can see you, and only when the flight crew tells you it's safe. The main rotor can dip as low as 4 feet off the ground, and the tail rotor, well, it spins so fast it's practically invisible. It is an incredibly powerful, incredibly dangerous machine that demands total respect. So from the daily readiness checks before the sun is even up, to the dangers of siren syndrome, the precise fend-off position, and that whole unseen reset that happens after every single call, it's just this incredible world of precision, risk, and dedication. The next time you see those flashing lights in your rearview mirror and pull over, what are you going to be thinking about?